What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. My name is Spicer McLeroy. Thank you for being here and for watching this video. If you aren't acquainted with these videos, this is where I go and critique my students' speed sculpts from the junior class. And right now we're going over skull construction and the muscles that pertain to that. So what I have them do at the beginning of every class is do a speed sculpt within 1 hour, and I give them something that they can practice what we're learning in class that pertain to the lectures. So in the lectures, we've been talking about foundations of the skull, and what I'm trying to do is get these students to start X-raying these faces that they see and start putting the skull underneath. So my drawing skills are atrocious, okay, my line work at least, but we're going to go through here and we're going to do a little X-ray on this guy. All right, so here's the ear hole, right, somewhere around there. So right around here is where the zygomatic is going to be. All right, and then we have it go up and then it curves around, right? And then on him, the temporal line is going right there. Like I said, my line work sucks. All right, so this temporalis is coming out right here, okay? And then we've got most of the meat happening right around there in terms of the temporalis muscle, right? Okay, so then we can find the inferior margin of the zygomatic, which is about right there, bottom of the nasal aperture, right? So from here we can kind of find the bottom of the orbit, right? And then we have the infraorbital furrow right here, and then that comes out this way, and then our superior margin comes out that way, right? A little bit further down. Okay. And then here is superciliary arches right there. Okay. And then the bridge of his nose is right around here, right? Somewhere I can't really draw in perspective, so give me a break. Okay. But it's pretty much right there. Here's his glabella. Right there. And then you've got the bones of the nose, right? So basically that's all I'm trying to get y'all to X-ray for right now, because that's all we've gone over in class, right? But we need to start X-raying to see what lies underneath, so that we can sculpt appropriately and quickly, and then that way we can just really experiment and get our style down. So right here is a malar eminence, and what I've been trying to illustrate is like right here at the zygomatic, you got this plane right there, right? See the angle of the zygomatic. And so this right here, we talked about, whenever you see this space here, that's him with his mouth open, right? His mouth, his lips may be closed, but you can also lower your, you can still lower your mandible, right? And still keeping your lips closed. All right, and so that's what's happening on this guy. That's the reason he looks like he's got such a big chin, right? But that's just because his lips are closed and his mouth is open, and I can tell because of the depression right here, the temporal mandibular joint, right? So it's probably right around there. Okay, and so we know from right here to right around there, we have our masseter, right? And we got the angle of the jaw right here. Let me clear this up a little bit. Okay, and so we've got the master going down. We've got this front edge right here. Okay, there we go. So maybe a little bit further down. Okay, so yeah, that's about it, right? And so right around here, this will probably be the temporal line actually, right? But then we've got the frontal bone, right? Basically the forehead, all that stuff, and we've got this ridge right there, right? And you can tell there's makeup and all that stuff, so you can tell the the orbital margin isn't actually going up, but yeah. Okay. So maybe right around there. And it's just refinement, refinement. You know, I'm just approximating these things. It can, you know, we can go on and on and on and refine, refine, refine. Okay, but basically, this is what goes on in my head whenever I start sculpting. Um, what should we call it? Whenever I start sculpting heads, this is kind of what goes through my head when I'm looking at all this stuff, right? So let's take a look at the student work. So let's go here. So this is from Alex. So Alex, you are sculpting backwards. Okay. So what we need to do is turn that off. Press W, and then we can click this little dash here, and then it becomes a hamburger menu, right? With a bunch of checks. And so what I'm going to do is just rotate it around, holding Shift, and make sure it's at 180. Oops. Went. There we go. Okay. So now we are sculpting in the right angle. Okay. So one thing I want to show you, so you never, ever, ever have a reason to not have ears, is press B, I. You got this IMM body parts. Just grab an ear, right? And see, it goes on here. And then just drag it out. Okay. And then, whoops. Why is it doing that? Oh, okay, yeah. Because we still have the hamburger menu, so we got to turn that off. Okay. And so at least you have some ears on there, right? So just remember that. You don't have to sculpt everything, you know, like, because even after this, you're going to have to make it look like his ear. So don't be worried about that, okay? Alrighty, so let's go and let's block in some things. All right, so this is looking pretty good. This is way better than what we had before, or for last week's. So good job. Very glad about that. Okay, so one thing I wanted to show you is I have this skull in here. We're gonna put this inside. Okay. And we're roughly gonna put it into place. Okay. And of course, side owls, whatchamacallit, skull is probably different than this, but I just wanted to put this in here so we had some reference. Take a look at where we can improve our, that's about right. Okay, so let's take a look at, so you can see right here how much space we have, just even on a standard skull, right? Like all this, make sure that's on. All this space that we got. There we go. So So what I want to do for yours is I really want to focus on the temple because that seems like a place that you're kind of guessing, right? So we can see that we got to have that right there. We got to have this little knock, and the knock is going to come down. It's going to be where the near the lateral canthus right here. Okay. So we can put some temporal muscle in here, temporalis, it out. Okay. Um, but that's really what I want you to start working on, this temple bone right here, and really start understanding it. And I'll go over it just a little bit because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have another situation where we have this, so I can explain it further on another one. Um, so let's look here. Okay, so solo. Okay, so this is in. So we got the superciliary arches right here. Okay, and we just got to make sure that this temple is right there. We're looking for this knock right here, and the knock again. If we're going to put the eyeballs in here. Let's see. Okay, and oh, wow. Okay, eyeballs are not that big. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use spirit. Right, so the eyes cannot be that big anymore. So we gotta. So that's about right there. Okay, because we got all this fat. Remember that we saw the see aponeurotic fat up here. Then we have the was it the lateral gland? I forgot. It escapes my memory right now, but um, we have to put it somewhere in there and then a little bit up as well, because that's what this orbit, the superior margin is for, is to protect your eye, right? So we got to make sure it's behind that, at least generally, for the 68th percentile of humanity. That's what's happening. Okay, so then we can go mirror and weld, and then now we've got two eyes. All right. So what we had. Okay, that. Oops. Okay, two huge globes, right? And they're actually about that big. Okay, and that should help you in terms of like putting the temple in, because now we have enough space to put the temple in there, right? Okay, so I'm gonna turn everything back on. Turn up, turn that, and you see how much more room we have to put everything in there. Okay, so we went over eyes, but we still need to get down the form of the skull. But again, before you, I know you probably had it right before, but we got to make sure that the eyelids are equal distance around. Okay, and then the malar eminence. Right, we got to make sure the where the zygomatic starts turning around to the front. We got to make sure we're honoring that. Okay. So that's what I would do for yours. Let me turn the skull off so there's not a bunch of weird shit going on. Okay, that's something I would work on the temple for you. Okay, and eyes, I'll do a tutorial specifically on how to sculpt eyes for sure. Right, and we also learned in class that the master, most of the mass is going to be right here. Remember on Super Testosterone Man, we basically had bat wings on the side. Right, and we need to ensure that the jaw is in front of the ear. I know I added ears afterwards, but Just repeating it. Okay. And there we go. Okay. So do something like that. Just at least start working on that bit. And then over here, well, I'm pretty sure it's going to be on another one. So just keep watching. Just keep watching. All right, so that is Alex. Let's go to Justin. Justin. Where are we? There we are. Junior, Justin. Alrighty, so we have a lot of things going right with us. You did the ear trick, which is good. Everything's fine with that. Again, we have an issue with basically the proportion of your orbital socket. Right, we need to. The reason I chose this guy was because his eyebrows were up, and I was going to see who was actually going to change anatomy to serve what they're observing instead of what's actually there, right? So we got to make sure that we still have that orbit. Something like that. Okay, go in and around. Okay, and to get these eyelids, what I would do is just grab BDS. And I think you're using Sculptress mode. Anyway, yeah, just make sure your lazy radius is up. You can find that in stroke, lazy mouse, lazy radius. Okay, and that way you get a nice clean curve. Right, and then right here, and we saw in the lecture about the plane change for the eyelid or the tarsal plate. Right, it's very, very prevalent that it's a very flat area, kind of like a rubber band. Okay, and there's a definitive plane change. There's not it doesn't just roll over into the eye. Okay, so all you gotta do is just grab the Damian standard and pull that out. And don't be cheating and using Sculptress, all right? Don't be cheating. You can't get that shit past me, all right? I know you used it. Look, I know you used it. Okay, all right. And then you can just put a little fold right there. Okay. But that looks okay. What we need to check, let's put the skull in here. Actually, and get this kind of situated. We're going to put the ear there, then the zygomatic needs to be there. Right. So if we're going to do that, your ear being up that high, we would have to put the skull right around there. Okay, and why is that? Because this is where the ear hole is, right there. Right above that comes the zygomatic, right? So we would actually have to put the skull right there to get it into proportion. So you can see how much space you're missing or how much lower you need to bring your ear. The easiest thing to do would just to lower the ear. Right, so that's what we're going to do. And we'll put this roughly around here. Okay. So I'm going to grab the ear and put it into place. Should be right around there. Okay. Right, and we can also give this a little bit more space. Okay. And back here, we need to start bringing this around the shape of the skull, right? Right around there. And then lift it up a bit, okay? And this is just getting it to the surface of the bone, right? Not even adding muscle or anything like that, okay? Alrighty, so let me pick that up a bit. And remember, we have the mastoid process right here. Let me go to the skull. All right, so right here is where your sternomyoclastoid is going to come around to the front, right here. Okay. So in terms of sculpting this piece, you know, if you're only going to do the head, then we can put that back up there. And we've got the parotid glands right here softening the edge. And I'm not going to worry about this little angle right here, because it varies from person to person, so not concerned with it. Okay. But now you can see kind of where we need to lower our eyelids a bit. Right, so we bring this down, and then we can also move things a bit forward as well. And then we can kind of knock in the temporalis. All right, so if we're going to follow this for the temporalis, let me get to the skull so we can show you. All right, so it would be right around, and it would feed right into here. Okay, so with that in mind, and since Max von Sydow's temporalis kind of goes in right here and is very depressed right here because, again, his mouth is open, right? So we can knock that in right around there. And add some more temporalis muscle in the latter part of it. Okay, but you remember, it's kind of like a fan. But that's what I would start worrying, and then you can fill in this fat pad right here. Okay. But that's what I would work on for yours. It's just really knocking this in and emphasizing zygomatic, because it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to equate it to like just basic measurement for like another profession, to kind of like a metaphor of some sort. I don't know. It's like getting a measuring cup, right? You're gonna bake a cake. You need to have exact measurements because baking's like a science, right? So you can only have a certain amount of certain items, and so you need, or certain ingredients, and and you have to measure everything before you can put it all together and make it look and taste good, right? So for that, you need to make sure that your proportions and all that are set. So we're right here at the bottom of the zygomatic, right? So we know we can at least bring the bottom of the nose that far down. But yeah, so you can see how proportioned it is, and then we can kind of level that off a bit. And that's what I would work on for yours, right? Just adhering to the skull, at least to its, overall construction, zygomatic, temporalis, all that. And then the right here, you can see the zygomatic just goes straight across to the bottom of the orbit, and then we've got that. And then, right around the corner of the eye, you're going to have that knock for the orbit. You can kind of get that down. Another thing is you got to bring the brow out a bit more. Oops. What we can do is just fill that in, and then we actually got to knock that back, right? Because if we look at the skull, right, it goes down. Think of it like a sad skull, right, with a forlorn look, right? And again, we've got this brow right here, okay? So we've got to honor that. We must honor it. Do not dishonor it. Alrighty. Okay, so I can doodle with this all day, but just knock that in, and then you're all set up, dude. You're all set up. So just go ham. Everything's already in proportion and all that stuff, right? Everything's set up. And then again, right here, masseter coming down. Bulk of the muscle is right there, going up. You've got it going, and it's just step by step by step, and that's what we're doing. Going step by step. Skeleton, then chewing, and then eyes, and then fat, and then lips, and then all this other stuff. And we'll get to it. And then just make sure you stay awake. I know it's kind of hard sometimes, but just stay awake, dude. Stay awake. Stand up. Whatever you need to do, because the information might not be what do you call it? Might seem like a lot, or it might seem overwhelming, but your brain will process all this information because we're going to be going over it and 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 over it. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at what we had and what we have. Okay, so let's see, infraorbital furrow right there that's peeking out. Right there. We just need to fill that in. Right? Okay. And again, let's make sure these eyes are equal distance around this eye. And then we got this wobble right here. Right? So we need to kind of fix that. Ooh, down here we definitely. And then we can have the lacrimal punctum that we're talking about right there, and then the eye dives, makes that dive. And that could be a little bit straighter. Okay. Somewhere around there. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have and what we had. Let me get rid of this. Right? See how much more natural that looks? Okay. Ears are too high. Eyes are too high. There's not enough over the eye, right? Going on. But I could easily fill this in with fat and all that stuff, right? Just make sure you got that going. Alrighty. But good job, good job, good job, good job. You're getting better, you're getting better. All right, so next is Camilla. Camilla. All right, Camilla, this is looking much better. Okay, so what we need to do is just need to dynamesh this together. Okay, so gonna merge down. Okay, just dynamesh it together. Okay, and don't give me the straight ear. Come on, do something with it. Do something with it. Let's fill that in. I'm going to use the inflate brush. Just inflate all that together and then redynamesh it. Smooth it out. Okay. So, let's talk. Okay. Alrighty. So, angle of the angle of the mandible is all right. We gotta make sure we don't have too much of a concavity going up here, right? There's a lot of fat and skin, and then with the age and all that, it's hanging off. So we gotta make sure we do that. Okay. And then we gotta ensure we got the parotid gland back here, right? Which softens this edge and allows the transition to the neck. So start putting in your sternomyoclastoid, your mastoid process into your clavicle. Start knocking that in. Okay. And let's fill this area. Smooth it out and fill that area. Alrighty. So that's the first thing I would do. Right. And a little bit more indication of the angle of that jaw. Okay. So, here. Okay, so if the ear hole's here and the zygomatic starts here, then that's the bottom of our orbital socket, right? So that means that everything has to be raised up, right? So what we need to do is bring the ear down, okay? Right about right there, because this is where you put the bottom of your orbit, right here. And actually, you put it down right there. I mean, we can get away with it, right? And then the bottom of your ear will be leaning forward, and the top of your ear will generally be behind that. So let's mark in our zygomatic. All right, dang it, come on. There we go. All right, so we got that coming up, and then coming around back here. Okay. Got that going, and then we could put the inferior margin needs to come down. And this connects right here in the, you can kind of give yourself a little line right here. And let me let me get rid of these eyebrows. Okay, so we also need to make sure your widest part is in the center of your head. Okay. You gotta make sure that it's right here around, right behind the ear. Should be the widest part, right? Bring that into it. Around there, okay? And so we can bring the jaw down a bit more since we adjusted the proportions. And we gotta make sure that there's some nuance to this jaw, right? It doesn't come just straight flat. It comes from within and then comes back out because of this masseter right here. So we can get that bat masseter line right there, okay? And we need to have a stronger indication of the malar eminence where it turns a corner. Okay. And then for your eyes, again, I would go through with the damp standard around the edge and kind of lift that out and try to get, a lid or a rim to this eye. And let's look at the size of your eyes because I can already tell they're too large. Yeah. Okay. So again, this needs to fit kind of around there, which will give you a whole lot more room as well. So you don't have to make such a large eye. Right, and now we can see where we need to start moving our inferior tarsal plate to match that. Okay. And then don't forget the lacrimal punctum up here, right? We're gonna have a straight edge, and then it's gonna come around, and then right there, get that little hit, right? That's still a bit too much. We'll work it. We'll work it. Okay. And then we can just add this brow that we've been going over in the previous ones. Put that there. Sculpt that. Something like that. And then I do like the way you sculpt this nose. This nose was done. All you had to do was just pull that bottom out a little bit. So we got the septum that goes here, and then, right, we know the septum right there is going to fall just in line with the bottom of our zygomatic. Okay. And then we can just give a little bit more. We can probably just push that back. So I'm trying to get is like a flat plane right here. And then we can bring our ears in a bit. And again, widest part is going to be here so that the temporalis can fit inside there, right? Because it's all feeding down and attaching to our coronoid process right here. Then we have our TMJ, temporal mandibular joint, right there. Okay. So we get something a little bit more natural going. But let's take a look at what we have and what we had. Okay. Okay. A little bit more bone structure right here. A little bit more indication. I know this is very, very strong on this, but after we add and smooth it out, look a bit better. Okay. But a little bit more nuance to the jaw or the masseter muscle right here. And put the ears together and put them in the right spot, and also filled in the back here so we don't have such a harsh edge or harsh dark line, right? This is a little bit more natural, right? It's mid-tones with some deep tones in there as well. Okay? And then we also shrunk down the size of the eye. Okay? All right, so next is Karen V. Karen V. Karen V. Let's take a look. All right. So getting better. This is better than last time, but you're still having a problem with your temporalis. Okay. So I like stylization. I like this angle, this overall stylization angle. It's looking, I like that. Okay. But it would look better if you had your temporalis in there. And then you had this right there. I'm going to go with your style right here, okay? I'm just going to accentuate some things. We're going to merge these two together. Always merge your ears together. There's no reason to have them separate. Groups on or something? Oh, no. Okay. Alrighty, so this feeds over the jaw usually, right? I'm digging this. I like this. This is cool. But if you just refine your anatomy, it would look so much better. You could probably make a career off of this style if you just got your anatomy down. And right there, allow the temporalis to go into the zygomatic. Put that down, this down. Okay. And then a little bit more separation from the chin. Right, you're gonna have this little ridge there. Boom. Right, the septum. Usually gonna hang down a little bit and then feed into the lip right there. Go a little bit more, something like that. Okay. And then this right here would look so cool if the superior margin was feeding in to the canthal tendons. We can refine this a bit. And then we've got the infraorbital furrow feeding in front of it right here. Little indication. Little indication. Okay. No matter how stylized you get, you can still stick to anatomy. And then on this eye, let's see what's wrong with it. Few things. Make it a little bit smaller. Oops. And bring them forward. Right around there. And just make sure everything's equal distance. That forward. Probably move these eyes together a bit more. Around there. Now we've got room for everything that's happening over here. Their temple. We can smooth that out. Have a nice little ridge right here. Okay. And then we can, like that image I showed you about the concavity and the convexity of the upper eyelid. Show you how to do that. All right, so it goes in and then just comes out right here. There you go. Badoosh. And then right here, you got your temple feeding into that, and then just even it out. And then get that temple bone, get that knock. Ready? And then superciliary arches there. Smooth it out. And let's just reinforce this orbital socket one more time. Not very convinced by it. There we go. And then we've got the lacrimal punctum right here. Have that go down. And then we can decide if we want these to meet or we want these to overlap, right? But we saw in the images that we know the only thing that this upper eyelid is going to do is either meet or overlap. So we know that the lower eyelid comes from within the upper eyelid. Okay. And boom, or infraorbital furrow. And then we've got the tarsal plates, right? Inferior. And then we just need to make sure that this is equal distance. And the canthal tilt from this view is roughly around 17 to 18 degrees, right? So meaning that this will be closer towards the front of the face than this will, okay? And we can do that, and then we just need to finesse this edge a bit. Something like that. And let's fix these ears a bit. All right, so the ears need to come down. We need to have, this is a very feminine forehead, right? So we need to make sure that the masculine forehead is at a deeper slant, right, than the female. And also got to make sure that the back third is the widest part. Okay, move that forward, and then we can dig in this edge of the ear. And then we can put a little arc right here. And we definitely want to widen this jaw a bit. And something like that. Okay. So real rough, real quick. Just a few adjustments, keeping with your style, or at least I tried to. But still incorporating everything that we've been going over in class. And it's still stylized and all that. Let me, a little bit more there. Still all that, right? And let me, because he's Ming, a little bit of expression, right? And he's not going to be smiling. Okay. And let's find that. But I really like the style. So whatever you're doing with this, keep doing it. I like it. But you need to incorporate anatomy into it, right? So let's take a look at what we have and what we came in with. Okay. And a little bit more definition here. Let's. Okay. Ears are together, right? Just put the ears together. You don't be afraid of ears. Okay. A little bit more structure here. A little bit more. A few more midtones. All right. And then space for the glabella, infraorbital furrow. You know, we have a heavier indication of the skull that's going on underneath it. Yeah. So all that good stuff, right? All that good stuff. And we could even, we wanted to really go ham with it and really get that edge of the temple right here. Okay. So that's what I would do for yours, Cameron B. All right, so Salinas. Salinas. Alrighty, let's see what you got going. Alrighty, so this is, I like this. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Heavy indication of that. It's above the ear line, right? But it's still not in the right place. Okay. So, what we need to do, again, this top ridge is going to indicate the bottom of our orbit, right? And if we look at our skull, right here, this one's not that correct. Hold on one second. Should be right around there. Okay, so we have the right in front. Okay, so right now you're saying the orbital. You're doing this. You're putting all that up there. Okay. See. Okay, so we just need to bring that down. Let me go back to the skull and undo that. All right, so get my move brush and just bring all this down. Okay, and then now we know we need to bring that down. So now we have enough space in here to play. I really like that. Really like what you did with that. Okay, so right there, and then we just need we just need to be a little bit more confident on what's going on right here with the temple. Okay, so boom, boom, right there. Okay. And then your zygomatic, you just need to be a little bit more confident on where it turns the corner. It's not, I mean, just for me, I just kind of approximate it and move it as I go. But I kind of find this temporal arc and kind of just follow it through to this master right here. And it's served me pretty well. Okay. And we can't forget the actual bone structure, so we don't want a bunch of wavy parts going on in here. Okay. And then we can pull this down. Whoops. Pull that down. There we go. And then we can go in right here and right there. Really get that skeletal structure so that we can start really laying everything on top of here, right? Right around there, okay? And so we know the superior margin feeds into the canthal tendon right here, and then this infraorbital furrow just goes into your the inferior margin. Okay, so we can bring all of this down, taper it a little bit more, and bring that out. And again, we got to make sure that this isn't straight across. It's roughly about 18, I'd say 15 to 18 degrees right here. Okay. Okay, so let's turn everything back on. So now we know we got to move these eyes. Let's take a look at these. Shape of the eye. Shape of the eye is all right. Not bad. Just because I'm me, a little bit smaller. Just a little bit smaller. All right, so somewhere around there. And moving forward, and turn off transpose, and bring this back. Okay. And I'm just gonna turn all these accessories off. Okay. We're just gonna be focusing on that right now. Right, and right there, right there. Okay. Superciliary arches. You had a good indication of them. We just need to add this little glabella. Whenever we go over the nose in a couple weeks, we'll definitely have a stronger understanding of what's going on there. Okay, but that's what I would do to fix yours. But I'm very glad that you did your best to indicate it, and you roughly had it right. You just were using the wrong margin to determine the bottom of your orbit. Okay, so let's see what we have, what we walked in with. Okay, you can see the difference. You haven't marked in. You almost had it. Okay, just a little bit more of the skeletal structure going on, right? And don't forget that you have this brow going all the way around. Okay, and then your temporal line, and then your frontal bone right here. Okay. Alrighty. So who's next? Kenneth. Kenneth is next. Okay, let's take a look. Kenneth. All right. Here we go. Okay. All right. So again, you're doing this. Don't do this anymore. Don't ever do this again. Okay. Especially for a male. If anything, it's going out. Okay. And again, for you as well. What is this? What is this? Is this over 128? This is over 128. This is over one. Look at that. Look at the size. Look at the size of that. Look at the. Oh, you cheat. You're cheating. Anyway. All right. So don't ever give me anything without ears. B, I, body parts. Grab an ear. Drag it on there on the right side of the head. Oops. Ooh, are you off center as well? Oh my god. So we need to see BCB. Are you? Are you off? Are you off? Seemed like you're off. I don't know, maybe it's just this. Yeah. I'm just gonna mirror and weld it just to make sure. Yeah, it was slightly off. Okay. All right, so we've got the insert body parts, choose an ear, and it's going to be right around there. A little bit further up. Okay. And then just rotate it into place. So now you got ears. You don't even have to do anything. Okay. All right, so we need a little bit more indication of a brow because this looks more like Andre the Giant brow than side owl, right? And that's because we need this right here, which gives us enough room to put in the frontal bone. Okay, and just that right there kind of really improves what's going on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is your zygomatic should, according to your infraorbital furrow right here, or your inferior margin of the orbit, it should be right there, right? And yours is up here. Okay, so we need to make sure we've got that right there. Okay, and then we can bring that down. And now we've got more than enough room to play. Okay. And then stronger indication of the malar eminence. Okay. And then we just need to fix, this is going way too far back, right? So we need to bring that forward a bit more. Okay. And then let's really solidify this, the orbital margins of this. Okay, so go right there. So this is the barrier margin. So we know it's pretty much like a box, right? So roughly be right around there is where the margins would be. So then we can start adding all that. Okay. And we can add a bit more there. All right, so a little bit more angle on this jaw, somewhere around there. Okay, and then we can hit this knock back in here, and then we know now that the bottom of the nose is roughly going to be around here. Now we can bring this mouth down and do that. Okay, so let's take the size of these eyes. Yep, they're good. Okay. You got me. You got me. Okay. And then we have a very linear skull, right? And we know, again, the widest part is right around there. Bring all that in, right? And we know that the widest part of the zygomatic is going to be where? Right around the temporalis, so that everything can feed in there, and then it's going to level off to pretty much come straight. Okay? And we can bring that forward, add even a bit more here, so we have enough room for the socket. Okay? And let's see, that right there, move all this in. Equal distance, equal distance, equal distance. Alrighty, and I kind of want to move these eyes in a bit. Ready? Something like that. And then we know we have the lacrimal punctum up here, giving us that little break. And we know we can bring that forward a bit more. And probably not have such a deep recess right here. Okay. And then the overall shape of the skull, would bring to right around there. Something like that, and you can find the eye. And we know that there's a little flare from the skull that we have in class. A little flare right there. So it's boom, comes out that way. Okay. Something like that is what I would be working on for yours. And then again, right here, the master. It's right there. Okay. So keep trying to knock this in and getting all that, and make sure you don't have Andre the Giant forehead, unless you're sculpting Andre the Giant. Okay. And then for the masculine, we just want to indicate that. And usually what I do to make sure that there isn't a big old recess in here is I go from angle of the jaw to angle of the jaw, right there. Just fill that in. But we also want to add a little arc right there and a little dip right there. And let's fix this bridge of the nose. Like that. Alrighty. Alright, so who's next? KB. Let's see. Is this it? No, did I get it? I don't think I got it. Hold on. Oh, that's right. You gave me a ZPR. That's what you did. File open. Yeah, so make sure you send me Z tools, not projects. Because now I'm retrieving 1,500 undo steps. And if my computer sucked, this would suck. So just send me Z tools. Okay. If you're unsure how to do that, it's save as here, and then it's a Z tool. I'm pretty sure you just forgot because you did it right last time. Alrighty, so this is way better than what we had last time. I think last time we had something like that, and so biggest improvement for sure. Okay, so let's correct some things. All right. So the skull, like we saw, really nothing under there, and then the bottom of the ear generally leads the head. Okay. Next thing we need to make sure is that this is a little bit lower, if not just parallel. Okay. And then from the back, we just need to fix that. Okay, and we know the widest part right around here, so the temporalis can feed in. Okay, so what we need to do is actually move this ear down so it'll align with our orbital socket. Okay, and this line that you're trying to do for the temple right here is just too far out. It's too far out, man. All right. So what we need to do is let me just fix some things that are bothering me on this. Okay. So I can get my damn standard out and mark in this zygomatic to the temporalis. See that? And then again, we just need to give that that form change, and then the frontal bone right here. I think that's what you were trying to go for, right? But we can fill this in here, smooth it out, get all that going, and then we can get the bottom margin right here, and let's knock in this these eyes right here, and I'm about to show you how to add eyeballs because I know that's what you're struggling with, right? But let's knock in this orbital socket first, right? And smooth that out. And we just need a little room right here. So we have this front plane going on right there that we kind of need to maintain in the blocking stages, and then get that going, okay? And then we can bring this jaw right around there, and we need to knock in this this glabella to the nasal, to the beginning of the nasal aperture, and pull the face out just a little bit to give us some room. Okay. So if you want to add eyeballs, you go here to Subtool, and you go to Append, and you add an eyeball. You hold Alt, and you just click that ball. You might have to do it once or twice, but it should, become the lighter color. That's how you know you're using that. And then you just squeeze it down, and then make sure it's the right size. Okay. So that's too big. Somewhere around there. So we have enough room for the bone and all that fat, maybe even a little bit smaller. And then move it in a little bit. Move it back. Move it to the superior side. And somewhere around there. And maybe too far out. There we go. And now we can mirror and weld it. Mm-hmm. Come on now. What's going on? That's reading. Let me see. Do you have it on the right angle? Yeah, everything's right. Why isn't it not mirror and welding? Oh, it's on local symmetry, not visible symmetry. Or wait, is that what's... Yeah, okay, so it needs to be on visible symmetry. Local symmetry is just going to cut this thing in half. And so, yeah, okay. Cool, 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 cool. All right, so we're going to go back here, and then I'm just going to form this over the eyes using my, you can use standard brush if you want. And you got that going. So now you kind of know if you're, let's smooth that out. Now you know if your orbital socket is going over the eye enough. Right there. And then we just need the infraorbital furrow right here. That's in front of the superior one that goes inside the canthal tendon right here. We can build that up. That going. Smooth that out. Build, build, build. Smooth, smooth, smooth. And now we got something a little bit more more consistent with skull anatomy, right? And then that area. Okay. So next thing we need to do is add a bit more mass right here. And then we know the master is going to connect right around there. And most of the bulk's going to be right here. Okay. I'm going to smooth all this out. Okay, and gonna make sure that all this is in place. Okay. That's what we should be looking for. Okay, it should be coming down and then kind of leveling off right around here. And then widen this out. We kind of want a little bit wider of a jaw. We don't want it to come to a point, especially for a man. For a woman, that you can get away with that. And then a little arc right here, and indicate just a little bit more. Smooth it out. And then we can get the barrel of the mouth right there. Okay, so that's what I would do for yours, and just focus on getting that orbital socket before you start doing anything else on the eyebrows and all that, and making sure your zygomatic is lining up properly. Okay, let's see who's next. Jorge Alejandro Gomez. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. So I know you're having lots and lots of trouble with this guy. So let's take a look. Okay. So I'm gonna delete that. Okay. So overall, in terms of the skull, you have very feminine skull. Okay. We need to add, and this is a little bit too pronounced, right? So we need something like this, and zygomatic coming down. And feed that over the eyes. Wait a second. You were cheating too. No, you're at 64. Okay. Freak out. Okay, so got that. We can start indicating the margins of the orbit. Okay, that going in there. Okay. And then this, it's just too skinny overall. Widen it out a bit, and then of course back here would be the widest part. Okay. And then right now you have this going up, and it needs to be coming at an angle, and the tallest part is roughly going to be in the back third. Shorten that up a bit. And then we need to fill in this area, right? So in the previous one, we're talking about it going from, in Kamiya's critique, we're talking about going from angle of the jaw to angle of the jaw to fill that in. And then, of course, as in with the other ones, we need to make sure we get this insert body parts and insert an ear, okay? And put it in the right spot. So roughly around there. Roughly around there. Okay. And plug that in. Boom, boom. Okay. And we can dig that in, do all that good stuff. Okay. All that. So what I'm going to be looking at now is just this angle of the zygomatic right here. We know it's not going to be that tilted. And then the widest part's going to be back here. So the temporalis can pass through. and taper that back and bring that in. Okay. Smooth, 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 smooth. And then if you're going to have that sharp of an angle for your jaw, then it should be in front of the ear. Okay. And again, the bottom of the ear is usually going to lead. Okay. And we can fix that. And the reason I was fixing that is because it's just right. That's a superior margin. Right. And then indicate that. Get that going, and then we got our frontal bone. Okay. And then you can start adding a bit more fat and muscle here and all this good stuff. Okay. And right around there. And then we got the orbital margin furrow, sorry. Infra orbital furrow right there. And just put that in. And then we gotta have some room for the glabella right here coming out. Okay, and that feeds into the canthal tendons. And then that comes, the infraorbital furrow is in front of that. Okay. Somewhere around there. And a little indication of the bridge of the nose. Something like that is what I would do. And then again, we can add most of the mass. It's going to be right there on the masseter. And then a little bit more of the chin. And just always respect the structure. And get the barrel of the mouth going. Right? Okay. Alright, so we got that. Got that and what you came in with. Okay. So hopefully that helps. And Ramirez, you are last. You need to turn your shit in quicker, dude. And I'll spend more time on it. Because I'm tired right now. Okay. So, best head in the class so far, dude. Best head in the class in terms of planning this stuff out. Just a few things you need to fix, but this is the most human-like that we've had. Okay. So again, you've got Andre the Giant forehead, right? Fix that, and that leaves us enough for him to add this frontal bone or the forehead. Okay. The temporalis goes all the way around here, and then we can fill this in. Okay, and what? Alrighty. The next thing we need to do is we need to get this margin right here. It's almost wide enough, almost. Okay. And we just need to bring that forward. And you see the problem that we're having is coming out wider than the zygomatic, right? So we don't want that happening. And we need to have a bit flatter of a plane, at least to set things up. Okay. And then that could be right there, and we can move this up a bit more. So we have about a 17 to 20-degree tilt from medial to lateral canthal tendons. Okay. And make sure we have a nice eyelid with a ridge on it, right? We saw that in the images, how planar that is. So I'm going to grab my damn standard, turn lazy mouse on, wrap that around, okay, and then have this come from within, and then make sure these are meeting up correctly, right? Because we got the canthal tendons that are attaching to the infraorbital furrow right here. Okay. And then dig that in. Okay. And then that out, and then we just need to make sure this is equal distance around the eye. And before we do that, let's check the size of these eyes. Too big. They should be right around there. Forward, right around there. Start adjusting for that. And again, just making sure this is equal distance because we need room on here for the temple bone and all the fat and well, not all the fat, but the glands that are there. And just make sure this is meeting these right there. Okay. Ready? Something like that is where I would start with yours. And then yours is almost, this needs to come down more, right? Because we have the angle of the jaw. It comes down. And then watch this. Make sure you don't do that too much. Okay. And then just make sure that's in front. And that the bottom of the ear is leading. And then you can just take a damn standard here and just dig this in. And let's check. And we do have very parallel in terms of the skull structure. So just fixing that a bit. And a little bit more right there. And let's lift that up a bit because it's a little bit too up. Okay, and then we'll fill it all in with fat next week. Okay. We can do that, and then kind of smooth this transition here. I'm kind of over exaggerating the inferior margin of the zygomatic, but I just want everybody to really see it. Alrighty, and then right there is what we're looking for. Okay. All right. So good job, class. You are getting better. Some of y'all just had a bad day, and that's fine. We have those every once in a while. But hopefully it went over your video and corrected some of those issues that you were having. And yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. Fernando's, thank you for watching. But yeah, oh, and here we go. Got to fix that as well. Something like that. We'll go over lips, I believe next week. Okay. And then, whoops, wrong brush, wrong brush. Something like that. Okay. This is what I would do. This is what I would do. All right, so hopefully that helps. Helps you get a little bit more confident with e-sculpting faces and all that. But yeah, yeah. And again, my name is Spicer McLeroy. Thank you for watching. If you haven't, make sure to follow the channel, subscribe to the channel. And until the end of the year, we're pretty much going to be doing a lot of these, a lot of anatomy critiques. We're also building a Thor collectible, stylized game character, fantasy game character, and a sci-fi game character all this year. So we're going to have a whole lot of fun, going to be doing a lot of things. So make sure to follow, and then all my links are down below. So make sure to follow me there. All right. Thank you very much.